Operation Veritable, which is also known as the Battle of Reichswald, was the northern part of an Allied pincer movement. It was one of the last operations of World War II. The operation was in the Reichswald Forest and its surrounding areas. The operation took place from the 8th of February to 11th of March 1945. Operation Veritable was operated by Canada's Field Marshal Bernard Montgomery, who led the Anglo-Canadian 21st Army Group. The 21st Army Group mainly consisted of the 1st Canadian Army and the British XXX Corps. Lieutenant General Harry Carr was in charge of the 1st Canadian Army, while Lieutenant General Horrocks was in charge of the British XXX Corps. Over 15,000 casualties were reported from the Allies, while over 44,000 casualties were estimated to have been lost by the Germans. The planning of Operation Veritable was initially brought up by General Dwight D. Eisenhower, who was the Allied commander. He decided the best chance to making it into Germany was across the flatlands of northern Europe. In order to fulfill this plan, the Allied forces had to clear out the enemy combatants in between the Maas and Rhine rivers in order to get through safely. The operation was officially made on the 1st of January 1945. Operation Veritable was delayed several times throughout the planning stages. The events of the Battle of the Bulge caused a delay in the operation, due to the Allies having to divert some troops to the Ardennes to fight off the German forces. This cost the Allies a huge advantage due to the floodplains in the Rhine no longer being frozen enough for Allied forces to cross. Another problem that affected Operation Veritable was that the Rhine floodplain was flooded due to the ground having thawed, as well as the Germans deliberately allowing the floodplain to flood in order to slow down Allied troops and armor. The operation was separated into 3 different phases. Each phase was crucial for Operation Veritable to be a success. Phase 1 was for Allied troops to clear the Reichswald of enemy troops and to secure the line Genappe-Aspern-Cleve. Phase 2 was that the Allied forces were to breach the German second defensive system that was east and southeast of the Reichswald. The mission was to also capture the localities Wies-Udem, Kalkar-Emmerich, and they were meant to secure any of the communications that were between them in order to prevent reinforcements. Phase 3 was the breakthrough of the Hochwald defensive lines, and the objective was to advance further inward in order to secure the general line Geldern-Exanten. The operation was an infantry frontal assault that was supported by armor and artillery and over 50,000 men, and 500 tanks were put into action. During the battle, there was a large-scale artillery bombardment. It was the biggest barrage by the British since the Second Battle of El Alamein. Many men were deafened for several hours due to the noise that was made by over 1,000 guns. Desperation hit the Germans, and they released water from the largest Boer dam to flood the plains in order to slow down any Allied forces. The next day, the Germans did it again, further upstream as well. This caused Operation Grenade to be postponed for 2 weeks. XXX Corps made fast progress across the majority of its front, but after the first day, German reinforcements were called in and a violent battle ensued. Lieutenant General Horrocks ordered the 43rd Division from Wessex to advance past Cleve into the German rear. The result of this was the greatest traffic jam in modern warfare history. The 15th Division's orders were to capture Cleve, but they were held up on the outskirts of Cleve on the night of February 9th. On the 11th of February, the 15th Division succeeded in clearing the town of enemy forces. The 3rd Division moved through the flooded areas of the Rhine by using Buffalo amphibious vehicles. The field defenses that were set up by the Germans were rendered useless due to the water, which results in a success for the Allies. Once the Reichswald was in the control of the Allies decided to pause all advancements in order to regroup. They soon continued forward towards the Hochwald Ridge. The next stage was called Operation Blockbuster, and it started on the 22nd of February, when the 15th Scottish Division attacked the woods that was located northeast of Wies. Wies was taken by the 53rd Welsh Division 2 days later when they arrived from Gogh. On the 23rd of February, the U.S. 9th Army crossed the Rhine, and the majority of the other Allied forces were close to the west bank of the Rhine. Divisions led by Field Marshal Gerd von Rundstedt that had remained on the Rhine's west bank were cut down, and over 230,000 men were taken prisoner. The war ended shortly after this, on the 11th of March. The success of Operation Veritable marked the final chapter of World War II, and the end of the reign of terror from Nazi Germany. Thousands of men from Canada and the United Kingdom partook in this important operation, and thousands more died fighting for freedom. Due to their sacrifice, the world was freed from the Nazi occupation, and they are remembered by the people around the world as heroes.